In the tranquil garden of Yeda's grove, the Buddha rested beneath the shade of the ancient sal tree. Disciples gathered around, seeking wisdom from the enlightened one. The air was filled with the scent of blossoms carried by the gentle breeze. The Buddha began speaking, his voice calm and steady like flowing water. Let us speak of connection. My dear disciples, connection is the essence of existence, and relationships form the fibers of life's tapestry. He paused for a moment, allowing his words to sink into the hearts of his listeners. One must first understand the roots of connection to cultivate harmony. Let me share with you the story of Maha, a farmer. The disciples leaned forward, eager to hear the tale from their teacher. Maha's fields were vast, stretching as far as the horizon. Yet his land bore only barren soil, unyielding and unforgiving. Maha worked tirelessly under the sun, day and night, seeking life for his crops. Yet his efforts bore no fruit, only despair. The Buddha's gaze met his disciples, reflecting compassion and understanding. Frustrated, Maha journeyed to seek guidance, and his path led him to me. He begged for insight into his plight. The Buddha continued with deliberate clarity, ensuring each word resonated deeply. I observed his fields, and I observed his heart. Both were barren, for trust and care were absent from his life. The disciples exchanged thoughtful glances as they pondered the Buddha's words. I told Maha, the soil is trust, the seeds are compassion, and the water is communication. Nurture them to thrive. The Buddha gestured toward the earth beneath him, a living metaphor for his teaching. Maha followed my guidance and tended his soil with faith, planted his seeds with care, and watered them with patience. The Buddha's lips curved into a gentle smile, reflecting the joy of connection. Slowly, his fields transformed, blooming into a sea of vibrant colors, rich with life. His heart mirrored his land's renewal. The disciples listened intently, understanding that Maha's tale carried lessons for their own lives. Trust is the foundation upon which all relationships are built. Without it, even the strongest structures crumble under pressure. The Buddha's voice carried the depth of his wisdom, reaching into the minds of his followers. Compassion brings warmth to the cold spaces of the soul, allowing bonds to flourish and grow like the tenderest blooms. The disciples nodded, grasping the importance of kindness in their interactions. Communication nurtures the seeds of connection, ensuring they receive the sustenance needed to grow strong and resilient. The Buddha's teachings formed a triad of principles, simple yet profound. Maha's family, once distant and cold, became united in trust and understanding. They too flourished, reflecting the garden of their souls. The Buddha's tale came to a close, his disciples remaining in quiet contemplation, just as the gardener tends his land. You must tend your relationships, feeding them with trust, compassion, and communication. The Buddha's tone softened, his teachings leaving a lasting impression on his disciples. Neglect these elements, and the garden of your relationships will wither, just as Maha's fields once did. He gestured toward the disciples, urging them to apply his wisdom in their lives, yet with care and devotion. The garden will bloom, its beauty touching the hearts of all who encounter it. The Buddha's teachings lingered in the air, a gentle reminder of the importance of connection. Now, reflect upon your own relationships. Where is trust lacking? Where is compassion absent? Where does communication falter? The Buddha's questions stirred the minds of his disciples, urging self-reflection. Strengthen the roots of your connections, for they are the source of life's harmony. Tend to them as Maha did. The disciples bowed in gratitude, their hearts filled with the wisdom of their teacher. Remember, life's true wealth lies in the bonds we form. Treasure them, nurture them, and they will sustain your spirit. The Buddha rose gracefully, the garden mirroring his tranquility and wisdom. His disciples remained seated, their hearts dwelling on the sacred lessons shared beneath the sal tree. The light of dawn began to break. The Buddha walked toward the horizon, his presence illuminating the path ahead. As the morning sunlight graced the grove, the disciples carried the Buddha's teachings with them, a guide for their lives. His wisdom echoed within their souls, nurturing the roots of connection in their hearts. Another day, the Buddha sat beneath the Bodhi tree, surrounded by disciples eager for teachings that would illuminate their paths. A soft breeze rustled the leaves, carrying with it the scent of wildflowers blooming nearby. The Buddha's voice resonated through the serene grove. Balance is the essence of life and relationships. Without it, harmony turns into chaos. The disciples listened intently, their eyes fixed on their teacher, seeking clarity and understanding. To understand balance, let us explore the story of two merchants, Ananda and Bala, who once sought my guidance. The Buddha's gaze rested on his disciples, his words measured and deliberate, like the flow of a gentle stream. Ananda was generous, always giving of his wealth, time, and energy. He believed that giving unconditionally was a sign of love. The Buddha paused, letting the weight of his words linger in the still air, stirring thoughts within his listeners. Bala, on the other hand, was focused on receiving. He felt entitled to Ananda's generosity and took without consideration or gratitude. The disciples exchanged glances, intrigued by the stark contrast in the merchant's approaches to their partnership. Ananda, though noble in intention, began to feel the strain of endless giving. His strength waned, and his spirit grew weary. The Buddha's voice softened, reflecting the compassion he felt for those who struggled to find equilibrium in their lives. Bala, unmindful of the imbalance, continued to demand more, until their partnership faltered. Conflict arose, and their bond was threatened. The disciples leaned forward, captivated by the unfolding tale and eager to learn the resolution. They came to me, burdened by their discord, seeking a path to restore harmony in their relationship. The Buddha's presence exuded a calm authority, his teachings a beacon for those lost in the storms of life. I observed their interactions and saw the imbalance as clearly as the rising sun. I spoke to them of the middle way. The disciples nodded, recognizing the familiar principle that underpinned the Buddha's teachings and provided guidance. For all aspects of life, to give without restraint depletes the giver, and to take without gratitude corrupts the receiver. Balance must be found. The Buddha's words, though simple, carried profound truth that resonated deeply within the hearts of his followers. I told Ananda, "Your generosity is admirable, but it must be tempered with self-care. You cannot pour from an empty vessel." The Buddha's tone held a gentle firmness, urging his disciples to consider the importance of maintaining their own well-being. I told Bala, "Gratitude is the foundation of receiving. Acknowledge the giver's effort, and strive to give in return." The disciples contemplated these teachings, understanding that balance required effort and mindfulness from all parties involved. Ananda and Bala embraced the middle way, each adjusting their actions to create a partnership rooted in mutual respect. The Buddha's smile reflected his satisfaction with the resolution, a testament to the transformative power of balance. They learned that relationships thrive when giving and receiving are in harmony. Like the scales that merchants use to weigh goods, the disciples envisioned the metaphor, the image of balanced scales reinforcing the Buddha's lesson in their minds. Balance fosters harmony, reduces conflict, and allows relationships to flourish, creating a foundation of trust, compassion, and understanding. The Buddha's teachings radiated through the grove, touching each soul with their profound wisdom and clarity. Reflect upon your own relationships. Do you give too much, leaving yourself drained? Or do you take without acknowledging the giver? The Buddha's questions stirred self-reflection among his disciples. encouraging them to examine their own actions and intentions. Strive to find balance, for it is the key to sustaining the bonds that enrich and give meaning to life. The Buddha's voice carried the weight of timeless truth, his words a guiding light for those who sought harmony in their relationships. Remember, the middle way is not a compromise but a path of wisdom, one that recognizes and honors all perspectives. The disciples bowed in reverence, their hearts filled with gratitude for the teachings that would guide them in their lives. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the grove, the disciples remained seated in silent contemplation. The Buddha rose gracefully, his presence a serene reminder of the harmony that comes from balance and understanding. He walked toward the horizon, the fading light illuminating his path, a symbol of the wisdom he imparted to all who followed him. His disciples carried his teachings with them, seeds of wisdom that would bloom into harmonious relationships. Another day, the Buddha sat near the riverbank, where the gentle sound of flowing water calmed his gathered disciples. The sun gleamed softly, casting warm reflections on the rippling surface, creating a serene atmosphere for his teachings. The Buddha began to speak, his voice carrying the wisdom of countless journeys. Letting go is an act of love, not abandonment. It nurtures freedom and trust in relationships. His disciples listened intently, their hearts open to the profound truths that unfolded in his words. To understand letting go, let me tell you the story of a father, Sutta, who struggled to release his fears. The Buddha's gaze rested on his disciples, his voice steady and calm, like the river flowing nearby. Sutta loved his son deeply, but his love was entwined with fear. He clung tightly, worrying endlessly about losing him. The disciples exchanged thoughtful glances, understanding how excessive attachment could burden even the purest of bonds. His son, yearning for independence, grew restless under Sutta's protective hold. Their bond grew strained, like a cord stretched too thin. The Buddha's words painted a vivid image of the tension between love and fear, resonating deeply within the hearts of his followers. Sutta sought my guidance, his eyes filled with tears and his heart heavy with the weight of attachment. The Buddha paused, allowing the emotions of the tale to settle in the minds of his disciples. I observed his struggle, and I saw a chain binding his heart, forged from his own insecurities and fears. The Buddha's voice softened, reflecting the compassion he felt for those who faced the challenges of letting go. I told Sutta, love thrives when free. Release your grip, and your son will stay. Drawn by trust, not obligation. The disciples nodded, understanding the delicate balance between attachment and freedom in nurturing healthy relationships. Attachment, when excessive, becomes a cage that stifles growth and connection. Freedom is the key to sustaining love. The Buddha's teachings carried the weight of timeless truth, urging his disciples to reflect on their own attachments. Sutta, though hesitant, embraced my guidance and began to loosen his grip, allowing his son to explore life's path. The Buddha's tone carried a gentle firmness, encouraging his disciples to practice trust and understanding in their relationships. His son, feeling liberated, chose to stay close, not out of duty, but out of genuine love and gratitude. The Buddha's smile reflected the joy of witnessing the transformation brought by trust and letting go. Letting go is not the absence of love, it is its purest form, untainted by fear or control. The disciples listened with rapt attention, absorbing the depth of the Buddha's teachings and reflecting on their own lives. Reflect upon your own relationships. Where does attachment bind you? Where can freedom bring new growth and harmony? The Buddha's questions stirred introspection among his disciples, urging them to examine their own actions and intentions. Love is like the river flowing freely, unrestrained and adaptable, shaping the bonds it nourishes along its course. The disciples envisioned the metaphor, the image of the flowing river reinforcing the Buddha's lesson in their minds. Release your fears and trust the ones you love. Allow them the space to grow, and your bond will flourish. The Buddha's voice carried the wisdom of countless journeys. His teachings a guide for all who sought harmony in their relationships. Attachment, when balanced with trust and freedom, becomes a source of strength, not a weight to be carried. The disciples bowed in reverence, their hearts filled with gratitude for the teachings that illuminated their paths. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows along the riverbank, the disciples remained seated in silent contemplation. The Buddha rose gracefully, his presence a serene reminder of the wisdom that comes from letting go and trusting love. He walked toward the horizon, the fading light illuminating his path, a symbol of the trust and freedom he imparted. His disciples carried his teachings with them, seeds of wisdom that would nurture their hearts and relationships in profound ways. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.